So that's National 1 all wrapped up for this week then. But rather than going straight into National 2 North, which we've tended to do on the National League Rugby preview show, we're actually going to start this week with National 2 East, given the fact that one of our feature clubs for round 6 is Canterbury. And of course, they do play in this division. But before we do that, let's look back at round 5 in National 2 East, where we can't look past the top of the table battle between Tonbridge Juddians and Guernsey Raiders. It was a fabulous game at the Slade, a brilliant advert for National League Rugby, with Duncan Tout's late try being coolly converted by Tom White to seal a 38-37 win for TJs. Tom White there as well, being lifted by his teammates in the end of game celebrations. Brilliant scenes, brilliant ending to what was a brilliant National League Rugby contest. But what it means for the table in National 2 East is that Tonbridge Juddians are now the only unbeaten team in the division. 5 wins from 5 for them. Guernsey Raiders remain second after a very good start to the campaign, with Barnes, Dorking and Westcombe Park all on 21 points. Down at the bottom, Colchester are still on the hunt for their first win of the season. They were beaten 36-22 in the East Anglia derby by Bury St Edmunds last time out. Back-to-back home wins for Jacob Ford's side in that one. Sevenoaks are also in the same boat as Colchester in terms of searching for their first victory of the campaign. They were involved in a classic against Old Albanian, but came out on the wrong side of a 52-49 scoreline. And Worthing and Oxford Harlequins are also still on the hunt for their first taste of success in 2024-25. Worthing did lead at half-time against Barnes in round 5, but 38 unanswered points saw Barnes run out 55-26 winners in that one, whilst Oxford Harlequins were beaten 46-24 at Westcombe Park. And speaking of Westcombe Park, they take the trip down the M2 this weekend to take on Canterbury in a bit of a derby meeting between the two sides. And Canterbury are one of our featured clubs on the National League Rugby preview show for round 6. And I know quite a lot of times on the show, and certainly within National League Rugby, we always talk about our clubs being hubs of the community, and that really is the case with Canterbury. They offer so many opportunities for people to get involved with the club, and of course get involved in rugby, whether that's the senior men's setup, the women's setup, girls setup, mini and juniors setup, wheelchair rugby, walking rugby. The list seems to be endless, and they've only gotten added to that list of opportunities with their latest initiative. They've recently launched something called the ACE Academy alongside a local school in Canterbury, which in a nutshell is there to provide children, local students, with the opportunity really to play rugby, learn more about rugby, experience the game that we all love, and combine that with their academic studies. So it is really a brilliant initiative which Canterbury are a part of. So we chatted to first 15 player and head of player pathway at Canterbury, Nathan Morris, as well as Canterbury's director of rugby, Taff, Gwilliam.
So the club's really invested in its community, and they want to give opportunities to local young boys and girls in East Kent. And one of the big kind of areas we saw when we had a reflection on it was a lot of our players were coming from private school pathways or grammar school, in terms of having like a bit of a socioeconomic barrier to that entry. So you had to meet the grades, you had to have a financial element. And what we did is, I've been in place for 2 years now running the pathway and the community team here, just saw where the greatest potential for growth is. We partnered with one of our local schools, Archbishop's School. And what we've seen there is, look, if we remove those socioeconomic barriers, so you don't need to be achieving certain 3As to, attend to A level to sixth form. You don't need to be paying X £1,000 a year. You still get given that rugby kind of program. So the 4 sessions a week, we're still running our defence and our attack. We're giving them an S&C program. I'm there 4 days with my team, Ella Jenkins, Alice Hayward and Cameron McMillan. And we're basically just meeting them at where they are and trying to develop and grow what you would call the state school, a comprehensive side of the area, and just give them that accessibility to high-level coaching and an elite program, really.
Well, yeah, what's key for us, the ACE program complements the other things that we've got in place with the grammar schools and the private schools. And the short of it is, we want to grow our player growth. We want to organically grow the club. Geographically, we're challenged in terms of recruiting players. So, we see our future in really developing in-house and developing not only players, but our coaching staff and the way and the skills. It's an overarching program that we're looking to grow the strength of rugby in East Kent and make it a centre to be envied.
We've seen rugby as a tool for social mobility, and at the end of the day, we partnered with a school because we wanted sustainability in the whole program. We didn't just want to be 1, 2, 3-year program, a flash in the pan. We wanted the best thing for these children. Having that is stability. So having that academic partner in Mr. Elliott and Mr. Noop down at Archbishop School gives them that pastoral support. We've been very lucky for each of them has a pastoral manager in the sixth form team, and then also offers a wide variety of academic studies. So, for example, A levels isn't for everyone. So some people, the high achieving, have access to IB in the next year. This year, we've got the A levels and the level 2 qualifications. So they're resitting their English or maths. They need support with the vocational qualifications. We've also, can cater for that. And that's also stretched with our other academic partners, such as Canterbury College, where we have 5 students who come and join into the ACE program because they may be bricklayers, they may be masonries, they may be welders. And we don't want to close rugby as an opportunity to people and put them in a box. We really want to give everybody that opportunity that, deserve it and have the commitment to grow.
Too often, groups are focused on just one element, and we want to be an overarching thing and grow them. But grow them as people, not just players, as people as well within the community.
Yeah, I mean, if I was 10 or 15 years younger, I'd be snapping your hand off and I want to be involved in this. But how is kind of the intake? I mean, it might be early days, Nathan, you might not be able to answer this, but how has kind of the enthusiasm behind it been so far? I know, if I'm right in saying that, after Saturday's game against Haven't just gone, you guys, the first academy game, if you like, took place. So how's the enthusiasm been behind it all?
Oh, we've been very blessed. We're very lucky. We've got around 21 players in the wider squad. So that's huge. Like when I was developing this idea for the last 2 years with Matt Corker, our head coach, and then the last year, Taff, I was a bit concerned in terms of numbers. I was thinking we may have to amalgamate with another school or may have to try and jump in with our Colts or, our under 18 Canterbury club. But actually, it's been phenomenal. It's just taken off. And what you've seen is 5, 6, 7 people starting full time, enjoying it, creates a buzz, and then it just starts like a snowball effect. And yeah, big note from last Saturday after Havant, we had about 200-300 people still stay after the game, watch the Ace Academy versus our Canterbury Colts development team. It was a phenomenal game of rugby. I think the scoreline was 40 points to 24, but the game was much closer than that. And in terms of the skill set, just them being able to see what rugby is about, the pre-match meal, the camaraderie, the sponsors, the parents, the family, everybody being there and being the center of the attention. It was a phenomenal occasion.
What was really nice about it, they're all people from different cross sections of the local community, and they're all integrating. There's no them and us. It really is a fantastic family atmosphere, and highly competitive, and and it was just a pleasure to watch. And the sponsors that were here, they loved it, and it's just something that will grow on its own success. We're aspiring to become a National League club, a sustainable National Division 1 club, and to do that, it takes time. Canterbury were there once before, and we came straight back down. Now we're putting foundations in place, which will actually make our campaign to achieve, and if we do achieve it, make it sustainable to play at that level. And it creates local lads who have good skills, who don't want to go into the professional game, will have the opportunity to play a high standard of rugby on their doorstep, and that's paramount.
Just to bring it back to the rugby side of things, guys, if you don't mind, in terms of the season so far, obviously, as we mentioned, right at the top, 4 wins from 5 for Canterbury to begin the season, 3 of which have been at home where you are this weekend against Western Park. So, Nathan, as a player, does that bring a lot of confidence going into a game like Saturday, given the start of the season you've made, particularly at home?
Yeah, I think it definitely does. We've really tried to make this a bit of a fortress. Historically, it's not been so challenging to come here and get points. And we've really tried to have a big mental switch on that respect. We've got Western Park on this weekend, huge local rivalry. Every time we play, it's a big grudge match, especially last year. They turned us over on their patch, and rightly so. Like, we were very poor in the second half. So we have a lot of confidence in the respect that we're getting some good outcomes, but we still have a lot of, process goals to actually deliver on. Ideas around our discipline, our penalty count, elements around there that we've got a lot to work on in the week, and it's really keeping us focused and doubling it down to actually make Saturday a brilliant experience for all.
What adds a little bit of an edge to it is that all the lads from both clubs, there's coaches who used to coach and play at Canterbury, and there's players at Canterbury who used to play at Westcombe Park, and both sets of players are actually instrumental in the Kent County Championship side, which, as you know, are national champions at the moment, and so they play with each other within the county setup. But this weekend they're going to be playing against each other, and that adds an extra little edge to it. So it should be a real good day.
So big thanks to Taff and Nathan for their time. Another brilliant project which Canterbury are a part of. And if you do want to find out a bit more information about the Ace Academy, do email Nathan at nathan.morris@cantrugby.co.uk. That email should be below me right now. I will put it in the description of the video as well. Or alternatively, get yourself down to Canterbury Rugby Club 2, the Marine Travel Ground, as I'm sure someone at the club will be able to help you and provide you with some more information about what is another fantastic initiative that Canterbury are a part of. And it seems like a brilliant weekend to get yourself down to Canterbury, doesn't it? With them taking on Westcombe Park in round 6 of National 2 East. Stars of Kent Rugby will be on show. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff with Canterbury aiming for their 4th straight home win, whilst Westcombe Park are certainly ticking along nicely, aren't they, at the moment? So it should be a belter, that one, over in Kent. So what about the rest of the fixtures then for round 6? Let's have a look at them. And will it be a first win of the season for Colchester? Henley Hawks are the visitors to Raven Parks, with Henley losing 34-5 last time out against Dorking. Director of Rugby Luke Allen was very honest with his assessment of the performance. So Henley will be going to Colchester aiming for their first win since round 2. And speaking of Dorking, they host Oxford Harlequins in round 6, with Oxford Quins back on the road this weekend. Another huge game for Guernsey Raiders after playing 6th place Canterbury and league leaders TJ's Tonbridge Juddians in the last 2 weeks. They host 3rd place Barnes this weekend at Foots Lane. Another fixture which really does jump out of the page in these early knockings of the season. And speaking of league leaders Tonbridge Juddians, they're aiming for win number 6 of the campaign away at Havant. Is something TJs haven't achieved since November 2019. They have not won 6 games in a row for nearly 5 years. So can they set a new record or match that record, should I say, this weekend? Elsewhere, Sevenoaks versus Bury St Edmunds. Sevenoaks showed a lot of character in last week's loss to Old Albanian. Can they now turn those plus points into a victory against Bury St Edmunds? And Worthing will also be looking to do the same when they take on Old Albanian, who are hunting for a 3rd straight win.